Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to another video of mine, Squad, and this is another Chelsea transfer news daily video for you guys where I'll talk about three main reports, three main stories: Philippe Coutinho, the big one, Lautaro Martinez, and of course the third player is of course Alex Telles from Porto. Links hottening up, looks like it could potentially be another done deal alongside Hakim Ziyech. But before I do get into all those reports, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to my channel if you are not on here. Make sure you button notification for every time I upload, and comment down below your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, starting off with the main one, that is of course Lautaro Martinez, a player that I have mentioned on my channel on numerous occasions. Now, Sports, which are of course a publication, now they've mentioned a lot regarding Lautaro Martinez to Chelsea. I've realised over the past recent few weeks. However, they're basically claiming Chelsea have given an irresistible offer to Lautaro Martinez. They're stating that Chelsea have tabled a transfer offer for Lautaro Martinez that is reportedly more attractive than Barcelona's attempt to sign the Inter Milan striker. Both clubs are on the hunt for an attacking reinforcements and are prepared to battle it out for the Argentinian frontman. Now, we know that Barcelona have a long-term interest in Lautaro Martinez ever since he's made this switch to Inter Milan from the Argentinian league. Now, Nico Scarola, reliable Italian journalist, is mainly reporting that Barcelona are the frontrunners for him. He's stating that Lautaro Martinez, especially Barcelona president Bartomeu, he's really keen and interested to get the Lautaro Martinez deal over the line. So I think that in that sense, there is no way in regard that we are favourites for Lautaro Martinez. Now, we know that Frank Lampard is going to be in for a striker. It's a position that we need to strengthen in the summer window, but I do have a couple of reservations. Not him as a player, because I believe that he's a very, very talented player. He's a generational talent in my opinion, and for me, he is in that mould of an Aguero region in my opinion. I'll get into his details of his stats and his attributes as to why he'd suit our system, but I have doubts on how reliable the reports are and are we genuinely interested in him. Now, we know that we need a marquee signing. That is without doubt of a question. Of course, we've got our new sponsorship deal and free new sponsorships coming in. We haven't spent in a couple of years now realistically on a big name signing. We haven't spent at all, so we have a lot of money to play around with and utilise in transfer market. The main question I have here is, we do need a marquee signing, but how reliable and how desperate are we to get Lautaro Martinez is a completely different question. For me, I don't believe it's first choice, and I think that with him having €110 million release clause, I think that Chelsea do prefer to get Jadon Sancho on the line. And I know for a fact Jadon Sancho is the priority signing, and of course we do need a marquee signing. If we do not sign Jadon Sancho, then I could definitely see it being a possibility, but there is no way, on a normal realistic world, do we get both Jadon Sancho and Lautaro Martinez. That is out of the question, without a doubt out of the question. There's no way we can afford both. It wouldn't make sense to try and purchase both. There wouldn't be any logic behind it. Now, what they're reporting is that Chelsea are ready to activate Inter Milan's release clause. They're going to give an irresistible offer of £94 million, which is around €110 million. That is exactly his release clause. However, his release clause is only active between the 1st of July and the 15th of July. So there's only a 2-week period within July where that can be activated. Now, with this global pandemic, and of course these unprecedented circumstances of the COVID-19 virus, of course, clubs are going to have less revenue, they're going to have less profits, and it's going to hit clubs hard financially. Are we going to be able to splash as much as we hoped to about 1 or 2 months ago? I'm not too sure, to be honest. Do we already have funds stashed away for the summer window, or is it, relying on player sales, etc.? That's another question that that is remained to be seen. Now, do I want Lautaro Martinez at Chelsea? For me, that's a stupid question. Of course I want him at Chelsea. He suits the system. He's a clinical finisher. He's an ice-cold gunman who has the attributes to be a world-class generational player in the future. His link-up is excellent. Clinical finishing, tight spaces, very, very press resistant, and scores fabulous goals, absolutely fabulous goals. And I think because he's such a physical build, he's strong. Yes, he's not too tall, but he's strong and physical, just like Aguero. His movement is elite, and hence why I think he'd suit perfectly to the Premier League, similarly to how Aguero suits the Premier League as well. Strong, can hold up the ball, elite finishing, elite movement in behind the defenders as well, the way he operates in half spaces. Now, he's not your lone number 9, he's not your out-and-out striker. At Inter Milan, he plays as shadow striker or up to against Lukaku. He does all the dog work, the hard work to lay it off to Lukaku. However, I do believe that he does have the attributes to be a world-class number 9 at Chelsea. Now, there's many reasons and there's many formations you can use to embed this. Number one, you could use a up front 2 formation. You could play him alongside Tammy Abraham, both elite finishers. They're both elite strikers with huge potentials, both young, one of the youngest prospects in Europe right now. And of course, we know that Lautaro is excellent in a two-man, up front formation. Now, of course, he could play alongside Tamir, so any of the 3-5-2 or 4-4-2, etc. But even in a 4 at the back formation, a 4-3-3 can suit them. If we have inverted wingers that play close to their number 9, so i.e. Callum Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic, that can play close alongside Lautaro Martinez, where he can link up and lay off the ball, the movement, the one-touch, two-touch passing between the midfields, the number 8, and of course inverted wingers. And of course that could also work if he plays close to his wingers. It's similar to how Liverpool play. He could also play as a false 9 in the sense that he holds up the ball, he's excellent with his feet, really good link up play, the way he operates in the half spaces again. But the only issue with that is we haven't got goal scoring wingers like Liverpool. We haven't got a Mane or a Salah, etc. But even as a lone number 9, he's got the attributes. He's strong, he can finish, he's really good in the air as well. And for me, even though he's still raw talent, for me, he could definitely be transformed into a world-class player. For me, he's already world-class, but the guy does have generational talent. 22 years of age, so much potential ahead. The guy in his prime is going to be scary, honestly. And I think that, personally, if you ask me, I think that he is Barcelona and Manchester City bound. But, he could sign for Chelsea. And we, of course, are in the market for a marquee signing. So, for me, Lautaro Martinez is excellent. He's got 11 goals in 22 games in Serie A. It's his first breakout season as well. 5 goals in the Champions League out of 6 Champions League games is incredible, absolutely incredible. And especially the group into Milan, we're in alongside Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund. Fantastic. The guy is elite, honestly. The guy is phenomenal. I would love him at Chelsea. Leave me your thoughts, opinions in the comments below. Would you take Lautaro Martinez at Chelsea? If not, again, leave me your reasons why. But getting into the second player, that is of course Philippe Coutinho. Now, we have been linked to Coutinho for numerous amount of times, too much amount of times. Now, it would have made sense when we lost Eden Hazard as a stopgap replacement to kind of ease the pressure on Frank Lampard and the rest of the squad. Of course, we were transfer banned, so we couldn't make any signings. But what the new reports are reporting is that Barcelona have reportedly dropped their asking price for Coutinho this summer to 60 million euros, which is around equivalent to about 53 million pounds, in order to complete a sale. Now, Chelsea lead the race and are in negotiations with its agent Kia Joorabchian. Now, of course, Kia is also the same agent as Willian as well, so of course he does have good relations with the club as well, so I can see why this move could materialise and make sense. However, again, I have a lot of doubts with this signing. Now, number one, he hasn't been too great at Barcelona. We know that his move to Barcelona failed. He didn't fit the system. There's a lot of negative parts of Coutinho's game that I don't like. And personally, in my opinion, he doesn't fit our system. Now, the reason why he doesn't fit our system is Lampard plays a gegenpressing style of football, similar to how Liverpool play. So we press high, counter press, etc., move the ball quickly. Now, in the attacking phase, Coutinho would be excellent. He's moving around the ball. He's a long shot specialist, a set piece specialist. His movement is elite. The guy is extremely technical. But when it comes to defensive phase and defensive work rate, I just don't think it's there. He hasn't got the pressing abilities. His defensive work rate is not the best. And when you have a Coutinho in your team, you're essentially playing with 10 men, because when you lose the ball, Coutinho is not the person to track back. He's not the person to put the work rate in. Now, for the reported price of 53 million pounds, I'll definitely buy him for that price, because off the bench he could be so elite. He could be a game changer. Like I say, he's a long shot specialist. He can change the game within the flick of an eye. He has that ability and that magic. However, for 53 million pounds, I'll definitely make the sale. However, I don't believe those reports whatsoever. Barcelona signed him for nearly 150 million pounds. There's no way they'd sell him for a third of that price. They'd minimum want to acquire at least 90 million pounds, in my opinion, despite his failed loan move at Bayern Munich. But for me, for that price, to bring off the bench, to have that quality and that elite movement of Coutinho off the bench is fantastic. Honestly, I would do the deal. But again, like I said, we have Ziyech, who's similar in that sense, a long shot specialist, really good with creativity, links up the play, really good in between the lines and the movement as well in half spaces. Ziyech is a quality player. I name him as the Algerian De Bruyne. The guy is sensational. But with Coutinho, who is too similar to Ziyech, I don't think why this deal would materialise. If you ask me personally, I think that Kia, who's also Willian's agent, is forcing this move. I don't really believe the substances. My source even told me that the rumours aren't as reliable as they seem. But, you never know. Would you take Coutinho at Chelsea? Leave me your thoughts, opinions in the comments below. And if you wouldn't, again, leave me your thoughts, opinions in the comment section below. But getting to the final player for this video, that is, of course, Alex Telles. Now, this is the exciting one, because this looks like it's going to be our second signing for this summer, of course, after Hakim Ziyech. Now, it all started off yesterday when Alex Telles has officially switched agents and is now represented by Pini Zahavi, making a potential move to Chelsea easier, according to the Portuguese outlet Record. And they reaffirmed Chelsea's interest, but also the Porto are still trying to get the €40 million release clause, which Alex Telles currently does have in his contract. Now, many of you might know, now he switched agents. That could be anything, Many of you don't even know who Pini Zahavi is, and that's why I'm going to enlighten you on who he is. Now, Pini Zahavi is a super agent who has very good relations with Chelsea and very good relations with, of course, Roman Abramovich. Now, they're really good friends. Pini Zahavi was the one who engineered the move of Roman Abramovich to officially buy Chelsea all those years back in 2003. He has really good relations. They're best mates in that sense. Business-wise, they work together really, really well. And if you want to move to Chelsea, having Pini Zahavi as your agent makes the deal a whole lot easier. And secondly, he's the other agent as well, Pini Zahavi, who brokered the deal for Sarr and Jorginho to come to Chelsea at the time 2 summers ago. So for me, this all has Chelsea written all over it. It's official. He's changed his agent to Pini Zahavi to make the negotiations to Chelsea easier, to make his move to Chelsea a lot more smoother in that sense. Now, that's what the Portuguese outlet are reporting. And Nico Skira, now of course I reported in, very reliable Italian journalist, he basically stated that Chelsea are in talks with Alex Telles and they have a really good relationship with, of course, Pini Zahavi. And of course, Paris United, which is a Paris, of course, French publication, and they are supposedly quite reliable. If you go on Twitter, and a lot of reliable journalists state that Paris United are quite reliable. They were the first outlet to report the Neymar news, and they have been reliable on PSG ever since that moment. And they're basically saying that PSG are turning to Alexandra as second option to Alex Telles due to Chelsea already being in very advanced contacts to sign Telles. Now, the quote "very advanced" does of course imply and suggest that we are in very advanced, of course, moves, and that Telles is practically done in that sense. Of course, it's not done, but it's very nearly done. Of course, I've been hearing the personal terms have been agreed. It's now the fee. Now, of course, Porto want the €40 million release clause, and they are in a bit of a financial situation. However, Chelsea could get the deal done for around €30 million, which is about £25 million, which is about the third of the price of Ben Chilwell, who in my opinion is a better fullback than Ben Chilwell, is world class, one of the best fullbacks in the league, suits our system, pacey, set piece specialist, really good in between the lines, crosses are elite as well, the link up on that left hand side. The guy is an amazing left back, and I've watched this guy for years, so I would love him at Chelsea. But leave me thoughts opinions in the comments below. Would you take Alex Telles at Chelsea? If not, again, leave me thoughts opinions in the comments below. But I'm going to wrap up the Chelsea transfer video today, you guys. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button, subscribe to my channel if you are not here. And I'll see you guys for my next video. Peace.